Yeah.
What do you use AI for?
I use ChatGPT. A lot of times, for sort of relations.
ChatGPT.
What did I say?
ChatGPT. It's ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah, I've done that before. You are listening to What's Next? Conversations with Boomers, and I'm your host, Barb Demaray. Hey, Mela.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, Happy New Year. Welcome back.
And Happy New Year to you too. And welcome back. Now we're well.
Is it too late to still wish Happy New Year? I know it's like.
Well, let's say it anyway. Whatever the rule is, forget it. I think as long as it's January, then we're good. Tell me.
Yes.
Do you use AI?
Yes. A lot.
A lot. And how do you use it?
I use it for work. I use AI to do some light editing for the podcast. I'll use it to help me with the show notes, to help me with the episode titles. Also, I have AI tools for engineering, so making sure that this is way technical. I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but just making sure all the volume levels are correct for the final product at the final version of the podcast. Same with the video. I use AI also to snip the clips, the social media posts that you see on TikTok and Instagram. All that is powered by AI.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, before I used to just do it all on my own. It would take hours.
Yeah.
But since, these new tools have come to fruition, I've been really taking advantage of it. And it cuts a lot of my creative work in half.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay.
Right? Also, I use ChatGPT, as most people.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I ask all sorts of things, and of course the answers come in before you can blink practically. So we just had a conversation with David Cravit, who we partner with, David Cravit from SuperAging News, and we have had David on as well as his partner Larry a couple of times before. Anyway, David, he has a wealth of information around AI. Kind of mind-boggling, didn't you think?
Yeah, it was. I mean, honestly, when he started talking about AI in the home, but like not in our computer, this is not happening yet, obviously, but that's what he predicts the future of AI is heading towards, its trajectory. It's really cool. But also, you guys also talked about the dangers of AI, and it's also important that our listeners, especially this specific generation, should be aware of the potential harm and potential scams that are out there with deepfakes and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's really important for people to know and be aware of, especially when it comes to your bank account.
Yeah.
Or, potentially being charged for something. Yeah, we really want to stay on top of that.
Some of these email scams too are getting so sophisticated. You have to be really careful because sometimes it looks legit. If it comes through as a text message or as an email, you have to be really careful. Not just for boomers, but everybody else.
Everybody, yeah.
What do you use AI for?
I use ChatGPT. A lot of times for sort of relations.
ChatGPT.
What did I say?
ChatGPT. It's ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah, I've done that before. Anyway, I use it for relationship advice, counseling, and I always think what they offer makes sense and really wise.
Yeah.
And lots of things. But I am aware, especially when I look on Facebook, it doesn't resemble at all what it used to be. It used to be all posts from your friends, and now 3/4 of it is AI stuff.
Yeah.
And that bothers me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a great conversation, and obviously there's, a lot more that we can expand on that we touched on. Yeah.
I think that this probably needs another revisit in the future, but for now,
here is our conversation, or my conversation with David Cravit. Very interesting. Today, we are talking about AI. We have the perfect guest today, David Cravit, who is one of our partners from the SuperAging network that we've had on a couple of times before. I know that David and Larry have done a lot of research around AI. And so I thought, bring him on and let's pick his brains. So welcome, David. It's so great to have you back.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. And it's a great topic. I mean, it's red hot right now, as you know.
It is red hot, absolutely red hot. So I'm not going to make any assumptions that all our listeners even know what AI is. I use it a lot, as do many of my friends. So let's just start by telling people what it is.
Well, it stands for artificial intelligence, and it's sometimes called LLM, large language module. I think that it learns, it's able to be programmed and learn and analyze massive quantities of data and then perform certain functions. And we can go into those in detail, but it's got good and bad, and we can discuss both. But basically, it is a forest that is growing and growing and growing. There is one area that is of concern that I want to declare at the beginning, not qualified to talk about. I'm not a computer programmer. I don't know how the underlying coding works. There are several different companies involved in this. There's also some fear of, if it's really artificial intelligence, does it become its own self-aware thing and then try to stop us from using it? And does it go rogue and start to control us? And several of the founders of the AI phenomenon have warned that if we don't bring in certain regulations or certain controls that they claim are missing, you could get this if we all remember, and certainly boomers would remember 2001, A Space Odyssey, when the astronaut is talking to HAL, the computer, which was named, by the way, for IBM. H comes before I, A comes before B, L comes before M. So it was a play on the initials of IBM. And at the end of the movie, he suddenly declines to do what the astronaut is asking him to do, that famous scene where he says, I can't do that. And we won't do that. And so it becomes a persona unto itself. There is a risk there. We're reading a lot about that. Experts know what that entails. There could be international treaties. There could be all kinds of programming protocols. But leaving that aside, it has a huge range of usage, both good and bad, ranging from, Alexa, play Beethoven's Fifth, to, Siri, turn off my iPhone, all the way into very, very sophisticated diagnostics in medicine, ability to use massive amounts of data and come up with actions, but also the ability to power, and it is becoming the driving force of deep fake frauds and scams. So we should talk about those as well, because they're very dangerous.
Absolutely. It's scary.
I know.
It really is. And I was just watching this morning, there's something that Elon Musk has initiated, which is very nefarious. It involves nude children, there's just...
Well, it's Grok is doing it, his system. So is anybody controlling Grok? I don't know whether he's personally sitting down and doing that, but yes, the ability of, well, look, let's just stay with that for a minute. So the AI is making it possible to produce videos with no people. And there's a show, I think it's on Netflix. Don't quote me, but there's a new show coming up where the star of the show is an AI created person. It's not even an actor, and it's completely human and completely, when you watch the program, you think there is John or Mary or whatever the character's name is. There they are. Yeah. And it was all AI. So there is definitely that. And perhaps we should start with that, Barb, with the frauds and scams bit, because AI can produce real live looking people. And there's two things, and we write about this on SuperAging. One is it can clone anybody. So there was a case, I think, in the early fall, late summer, where Sanjay Gupta was cloned in social media, and a video was posted of Sanjay Gupta and Anderson Cooper of CNN announcing this new breakthrough in the treatment of Alzheimer's disease, this herbal root, this honey, I don't know what it was, some natural substance that is better than all the drugs. It's finally the solution. There's Sanjay Gupta saying this is a complete breakthrough. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And Anderson Cooper, in his style, a very matter-of-fact, newsy, almost deliberately laid back. And the whole thing was a scam. And Sanjay Gupta had to go online on his own podcast and say, this is not me. There's no, and so they were using it to sell this bogus herbal remedy for Alzheimer's. So that's one level.
Yes.
They can clone celebrities, but then equally dangerous level, if we're staying with this for a minute, it can clone you. It can clone me. So somebody could get a phone call from Barb saying, I locked my car keys in my car. Can you Venmo me $500? That's happening all the time now.
Well, this is concerning. My knowledge of it is so simplistic, David, really. So pardon me if I'm asking those basic questions.
Sure.
But what I'm looking on Facebook, and I'm seeing all these, pictures of Meghan and Harry and William and Kate, and they're obviously not them. And people are commenting. Many people say AI, but just as many or more are responding as though this is actually true.
Yes.
And so, and as stories that are posted, what I want listeners to know and get from you is, how do we discern what is real and what is not? And, what should we be looking for?
Well, there's things you can look for. We've had some articles on this. So first of all, we can't control it totally, because we can't stop this from happening, and it's getting better and better. Let's start with protecting your own persona. I mean, that's the first thing I would do as a listener is, let them clone Meghan and Harry, but let them not clone me. So
right.
What about
let's start there.
What about they're called deepfakes. What about the deepfakes that involve me personally, with my bank account, with my personal, my social insurance number, my, my own personal life? In comes a clone, either of somebody I know who claims to be in an emergency and wants money. Could be, especially grandchildren are a favorite here. A lot of us have grandkids away at university and whatnot. And, I got locked out of my room and I need money. We have to be doubly vigilant with our bank accounts. We have to watch for everything. And what's happening now is that people are setting up family passwords. So, okay, sweetheart, you think it's your grandchild. I hate to use this example. Before I Venmo you the money, what's the family password? And the deep fake won't know. So I think that the step one is protect our own immediate self. Step two is the deep fakes that are trying to get us to buy something. So if it's just, I don't want to poo-poo cloning Meghan and Harry and William and Kate, because it's bad and it wastes my time, and I comment on this shocking picture of Kate saying something outrageous. Isn't that terrible? But in the end, that's not as damaging as having Kate come on and say, it's very unusual for me as the future Queen of England to be endorsing a product, but I just tried this new gizmo and you should buy one. So step two is that's
more
respond.
Concerning.
And Sanjay Gupta had a good, he did a corrective video on this whole thing, and he had a good statement. He said, first of all, it's not me. But second of all, when you see stuff like this, A, if it's too good to be true, it definitely is too good to be true. B, sometimes it looks a little artificial. It's pretty close, but maybe part of the scene is a little too rigid. It doesn't look like him. Why is he not in his studio? Why is, and just be very hesitant about that, but be very, very skeptical about commercial endorsements if they're asking you to buy a product. And a good example would be to go back to the so-called company. So who is this herbal company that's cured Alzheimer's? Let's just use that as an example. Number one, it's a video on social media. Why can't I buy it in the drugstore? Why hasn't the FDA announced it? Why haven't there been the NIH announced it? Why is it hiding in social media as this kind of act fast and we'll send you a free supply or 2-for-1? That right away doesn't sound like something Sanjay. And he himself said, if there's a cure of Alzheimer's, and if it's a natural substance, maybe, okay, I would be promoting it from my podcast right here. You wouldn't be in any doubt. So if it looks a little bit, how come he's on social media? If this is a legitimate company, where's their website? Where is their, serial number that the drug has been approved? So we have to be, but I'm afraid there's no easy answer. The answer is to be vigilant. And if it looks suspicious, give it a pass.
Right. Well, that's good. You're giving us some tips. So if you don't see this, if you don't see that, source the website. And as you say, Sanjay Gupta and all these other medical people that have podcasts, if they truly endorse something, they will announce it on that podcast. And it will be on.
Because you just imagine, just take that example, and I can talk about it because it did happen. All these years, all these billions of dollars of research, all these efforts to find it, I'd say treatment for, maybe not cure, or treatment for Alzheimer's disease. And suddenly this unknown plant derivative produces this special kind of honey, and it's the cure. Well, do you really think that would happen in the real world if there was an actual cure? That they'd be relying on social media and Sanjay Gupta on social media? I mean, it's just absurd. So you'd be suspicious before you start. But I'm afraid there's no easy answer here. Just number one, protect yourself first and foremost. Number two, don't spend money. And then in your spare time, worry about this terrible thing they did by putting the wrong costume on Kate or William or King Charles or something, which is happening all the time. We use it for research. We never print, by the way, not one single word on SuperAging News is written by AI. But sometimes it's a good shortcut, and it's killing Google search, by the way. And you notice if you go onto Google, if you Google something, they have that paragraph up at the top now. And that was AI. Because
that's the first thing you see.
The old Google was I had to scroll through 20 different articles, I had to click on 20 different links to find what I was looking for. Now they bring it all together and they put it up on top. But is that even accurate? And the answer is not always. So as a quick shortcut to research, we love it because we can say, how many companies are there? And let's say we've done this. How many companies are looking into using online services for aging in place? And who are they and what do they offer? So I got an answer in 30 seconds. It gave me all the links. Now I can go on those websites. I didn't take that answer and publish it as an article, but it was a shortcut for me to go right to the store. Oh, I get it. Him and him and him and him and him. Thank you. And at that level, AI is very good. So it's good and bad,
It is good and bad, right? I mean, we've talked about what to be leery of, and there are many things. But also, like so many of us, I have a question. I ask AI, and of course, you get the answer in seconds. And one of the things I asked recently was around my podcast. So I have X number of downloads. I've been going for this long, and where do I sort of stand? And that was really interesting. Of course, in a millisecond. And do you want me to give you some more information on this? Would you like me to break it down further?
Yes, no, we do the same. We do the same. We do the same. But the other thing I don't want to pivot the discussion, but it's very, very useful in a lot of ways. And I think the best way to understand it is it's too big to be characterized. So it's not so much AI, it's AI when used this way, AI when used that way. And it's a little bit like the Wild West right now, because you got the good, the bad, and the ugly all coexisting. We're all boomers here, the same age. But if we all think back 25 years ago to the dawn of the internet,
Mm-hmm.
every company with .com in its name had $1 million worth of investors throwing money at it. .com was magically going to be. So you had some websites that had no revenue, no audience, but they had .com. Do you remember iVillage? Do you remember drcoop.com? I mean, not a kopeck of revenue, and then millions. So they all went under. They all went bankrupt. There was a bloodbath around the year 2002. But the internet didn't go under. So the underlying phenomenon was there. The manifestations of that phenomenon were all over the map. Good, bad, solid, shaky. Same thing now with AI. There's some very serious work being done, particularly in medicine, that is beneficial, hugely beneficial. It can only be done by AI. We ran a story about how AI is now powering, this is all in beta, but powering doctor stethoscopes, the ordinary stethoscopes, to hear hidden sounds that predict disease.
Wow.
AI is also being used in again, this is in beta. You go to your doctor and you have your checkup. It's a routine checkup. He takes your blood, urine weight, height, vitals. He does your annual checkup. That data can now be analyzed by AI to compare it to millions of other people, your exact age with your exact readouts, if you will, to compute other health problems that your GP may not know. Not because he's no good, or she, because they can't absorb that quantity of data and analyze it the way an AI can. So it's an system. And the prediction is, and this is some serious people, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but some serious people are saying that the family care physician, not the surgeon, not all the specialists, but the family care physician will be obsolete in 10 years, and it'll be a robot and AI. Because if all they're doing is the triage, the checkup, and then referring you for specialized treatment, you don't need a human to do that. The AI can do it way better.
Wow.
And that's being spoken of seriously. I'm not saying it'll happen, but it's being spoken of seriously. So in the medical field, AI is very powerful, and nobody's getting in its way. The other thing for our audience, again, the use of AI for aging in place, particularly social connectivity. So if you have an elderly relative that, like, say, is living alone, an avatar phones her every day and says, "How are you doing?" Powered by AI, it phones her and reminds her of the meds checkup, books her medical appointments for her, and just sometimes just chats and provides companionship. And some of these avatars or these AI companions have names and personalities, and they learn her whole life story and what music you liked and so on. Sometimes the caregiver, an adult, daughter or son, might tell the AI avatar her favorite song was this. And this kind of connectivity can reduce and slow down dementia. So it's very beneficial. It's very powerful. There's many companies that are now offering virtual online avatars as social companions. It exists. It's not futuristic. So these are good parts of AI.
It's mind-boggling. It is mind-boggling.
It is.
So just to get back to the absolute basics. So I use ChatGPT a lot.
Sure, I do too.
And so let's just tell people, and I don't want to assume that everybody knows what that is and everybody knows how to use it. So let's just go back to what is ChatGPT and how can you use it? I mean, I use it, honestly, I use it like a therapist. This is my situation. What shall I do? And,
yes, yeah. Well, ChatGPT, and that is chatgpt.com, and there are others. It's not the only one. But it's basically a website you have to register. I think some might be free, some might be paid, depending on what level you're at. And you basically type in either a question or a request, and you type it in or speak it. And again, to speak it, that might be another higher level. I don't have all the bells and whistles, but essentially you're telling it, I'm looking into this. I need an answer to this question. And I'll give you a classic example that fits both of us here. I went on to ChatGPT and I said, we are research. In fact, I'll read you what I said to Chat. I typed it in.
Okay.
We are researching home care providers whose services include an online interaction. A person who needs care goes online and does one or all of the following. In other words, I'm telling ChatGPT, I'm aware of this. One, chats with a human. Two, talks like a phone call with a human. Three, chats with a virtual caregiver who provides text answers to questions. Four, chats with an AI-powered virtual caregiver who sometimes has a name and a personality. What do they talk about? The range of services can include medication reminders, advising on health-related questions, making appointments. This is what's out there. We are aware that there are a large number of these services with varying degrees of what they provide and how much they charge. Can you provide us with a summary of what's out there in the marketplace? And I got 6 pages of information in 45 seconds. The names of the companies, what they do, what they charge, their website. Now, I would never take that document and then put it up there. I would then go back, and I don't mean I treated it with suspicion, but I then go back and I say, okay, here's the links. I visited the websites. I checked that. I needed that information because we're dealing with a client who needed that information. But normally I would have spent hours even searching on Google, would have taken a couple hours. So I think, and I think our audience, I know the SuperAging audience is using that more and more. And they're comfortable with that because remember one thing about, you talk about boomers, and I mean the title of your podcast. We as baby boomers as a generation, we were technophiles, not technophobes. We grabbed every piece. We grabbed every piece we love technology.
Yeah.
We grabbed every piece of technology we could get our hands on as soon as it was available. Our parents and grandparents maybe were a little afraid of technology. And the problem is that now that we're in our 60s, 70s, 80s, or just about 80, we are being assigned by the marketplace the same, I'm afraid of technology attitude that prevailed among maybe the earlier generation that came before it. We're not like that at all, but we're wearing that same, oh, you're old, you don't get technology. Baby boomers always got technology, love technology.
Yeah, we've got to
debunk
that.
Everything.
Yeah.
Well, so the marketers and people don't get it that boomers are in love with technology. Now, it doesn't mean we always know what we're doing. It doesn't mean we don't need help. It doesn't mean, but so does everybody. But we're not resistant. We're not saying, "Oh, I'm afraid of this world." We love it. I mean, look at all these caregiver I just talked about them, all these services where you're talking to an avatar. Thousands of people are doing that now. They're playing their little robot. He comes on. Hey, how are you? I'm good today. How are you? They're having conversations today, and it helps mom not be lonely and isolated. Social isolation contributes to dementia, contributes to health problems. Here's a solution, all powered by AI. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I'm just boggled by it.
But this is without going into some of the futuristic stuff that we also write about. So, for example, just beginning, watch for it. The old model was, again, I'll stay with aging in place. You wore a medallion, and God forbid you fell on the floor and you couldn't get up. You pushed the button and it sent an email to your caregiver or the doctor or the emergency service. That's routine. Everybody's used to that. Fall prevention. Mom's living alone. What happens if she falls? Okay. Coming on scene with mom's consent, may I say. The whole house is a smart house. There are sensors in the floor. There are sensors in the bedroom. The AI learns mom's gait, what her footstep feels like, what time she gets out of bed in the morning, and says, wait a minute, today I didn't see her get out of bed at 7:30. She didn't get out of bed till 7:45. And I don't like that way she's shuffling across the floor. And AI can predict the risk of a fall before it happens.
Oh my goodness.
That's where it's going.
It's
That's
just
where it's going.
unbelievable.
It is.
So apart from ChatGPT, what are the other more common ones that people? I downloaded one because it was a design one. I wanted some ideas of what to do with my bedroom, but it wasn't very good. I had to say, "Excuse me, you're not listening to me. I said I want this and this and this, and I wanted blah blah blah, but you're not responding." And I finally gave up because it just wasn't. So obviously, some of them are not great.
Yes, there's Gemini is a new AI system that's part of Google, but they've had
Gemini.
problems. Yeah, but they've had problems. I want to be careful. See, the way all this AI works is it learns as it goes along. It's not like everybody pumped everything in there. It learns as it goes along, and it makes mistakes. And depending on what you put into it, it'll make some outrage. There have been outrageous errors, particularly with Google, with Gemini, which was doing graphics, and it produced like glaring errors that a human would never make because it had there. And I can talk about them. Some of it's highly political, but there was one. I think it was Gemini. It might have been a different one. There's many of them. Give me a picture of a soldier in the Confederate Army during the U.S. Civil War, and it gave a perfectly rendered picture. We've all seen it in a million. The gray uniform they wore. The Union wore blue. The Confederates wore gray. Perfect gray uniform. The medallion. The only problem was it was an African American.
Oh, huh.
And I mean, come on. But
it's not always accurate. That's for sure.
It's not Civil War. Now, normally, somebody would then say, this is completely wrong, do it again. And then that would be added to its knowledge base. Oh, I learned from that mistake. I won't make that mistake again. But along the way, some of these are just hilarious errors. But I don't want to recommend some because again, I would recommend Google. What are good alternatives to ChatGPT?
Right. That was my question. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the other problem is that some of this is quite funny, but maybe not. Some people are using AI to actually write, because it can write. It can write me an essay about the fall of the Roman Empire, and I hand that in my history class. And university professors are saying that 50, 60, 70% of the essays they see, they know were done by AI. And they're now taking steps to prove. And they're taking countermeasures. All this stuff is normal. Whoops, we've got a problem. We fixed the problem. Where I found that again, this is a funny one for me, a hilarious one for me, that in one of the jurisdictions, I want to say Maryland, but I might have, my memory might be at fault. The Supreme Court of the state, not the national Supreme Court, berated a lawyer who had submitted a brief, and this is to the appeal court. So the trial already occurred. Now he's a written brief arguing that the court should rule blah, blah, blah. And as all these appellate court briefs are, they cite precedent. In the case of Smith versus Jones, the court ruled thus and such. In the White versus Brown, the court ruled, and he lists all the legal precedents that try to convince the judge why you should rule in favor of whatever it is I'm asking you. Here are all the previous cases. And 3 of them didn't exist.
Oh dear.
So the judge says, well, did you use AI? Yes, Your Honor, I have to admit we used AI. Now, what they should have done was have AI produce the thing, give me all the precedents involving trespassing on it, whatever the case was, it doesn't matter. And let AI produce it as a quick opening round. And then you got to go as a human and verify them all before you submit it. Can you imagine submitting that to a judge in court? Unvetted?
Yeah. Well, I suppose, David, the way we're all using it now, it's so mainstream. There's a lot of learning. We've got a long way to go still. I mean, I realize it's been around for a long
No,
time.
we have a look, but we can't absolve our stuff. See, in the case I read, you give me all the companies that are doing this thing. There was no reason to believe that AI, in this case, ChatGPT, literally invented companies that don't exist. But I did go to all the way. I did look at all of them. And in some cases, to be fair to poor old ChatGPT, he didn't give the date that he found that information. So some of them were like a year old and maybe their prices changed by now and so on. We're strictly dealing with the research piece here. On the research piece, it's great for a first pass to save you all kinds of time to kind of get your raw material together. But then that raw material needs to be scrutinized.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It needs to be scrutinized. And then some of the more exotic stuff like that. But look, we routinely say, Siri, do this, Alexa, do that.
We do.
That's kind of been perfected. The scare there, by the way, I don't want to get everybody frightened, but the scare there is, well, do we know who's keeping track of those requests back at the headquarters?
Mm-hmm.
What if they know all the things what if your complete history of requests to Alexa is being monitored and analyzed by some uber level of AI that's going to do something with that information?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? And then somebody says, Barb has asked Alexa to do these questions. She's asked her these questions. And that means she's a terrorist.
Right.
No, you don't know.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the Mounties come knocking on your door saying, we've analyzed. You made 10,000 requests for Alexa last year. And you're writing a spy novel, right? And so you're asking Alexa, what's a good way of blowing up the Parliament buildings? And then along comes the Mounties and say, you asked Alexa, what's a good way of blowing up the Parliament buildings? You're under arrest.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, it's happening.
Oh my goodness. Oh gosh, there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about.
All day. We'll probably have to come back. We'll probably need to do this annually. What's happened since last time? This has been fixed. This has been controlled. Because that's what the story is going to be. It's not going to be static.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they know my age. So because I'll ask a question. Well, somebody like you who was 72, this would blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And and I didn't ask them, I didn't mention it in the question, but it's all there.
Yes. Yeah. So ChatGPT knows you inside out and backwards. The question is, who's running ChatGPT?
Well, exactly. Yeah.
That's the question. Like how many times has Barb asked us for this same thing? Maybe she's, a weapons dealer. I don't know. I mean, that's the security fear. Do they have access to that information?
It's bizarre. At some point, I mentioned that I did yoga, and I've been doing yoga for a long time, and I bet it was a long time ago. But they will refer back to that because I said something about my balance. Well, because the yoga you do is really has paid off. I didn't say anything about my yoga, but I did like 6 months ago.
Well, yeah, exactly. They will tell you as well that the first time you use it, compared to the 100th time you use it, it'll get better and better because it'll learn what you're after. And let's use this in an innocent way, not in a nefarious way. And I'm the voice of ChatGPT. I'm making this up, obviously, and I'm oversimplifying. But I say, the last time I gave Barb this information and I emphasized point A instead of point B, it really helped her. So drawing from that, I should shade my recommendations this way because she's more in line with it. And that's not necessarily bad. It's just getting to know the customer better,
I know. Well, I'm always so flattered because they're very often very validating and good for you and that's blah blah blah. And
don't think they're not programmed to do that though. They want you to come back for more.
Of course. Yeah. And you do.
As opposed to, what a stupid question. What are you bothering me for?
Yeah, right,
They're
right.
never
What's
going to
the
say
question?
it. Never gonna
What
say
do you mean you don't know that? What are you talking about? What is that dumb? Oh no, they validate you all the time.
And in the
Uh,
world you're talking about, which I think is the right angle, is what is it? How does it affect us individually, as opposed to how does it affect a clinical researcher or a scientist? They would have a whole other seminar, but for us, I come back to cloning yourself and hitting your bank account, your purchases, and double check the research. Just view all the research as a really excellent, and I'm a fan of it. I use it. First pass. It's an excellent first draft. Now scrutinize that first draft and shore up what's missing, double check the thing. But as a quick time saving first draft, it's wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wonderful.
And there's no waiting around for the answer.
No. No. It's here to
I
stay, so we might as well learn how to get comfortable with it.
Exactly. Okay, David, we're come to the end here. This has gone by so quickly, and we've obviously got to have you back.
Well, I appreciate it. I enjoyed it very much.
It's great, and you're a wealth of information on so many things. So many thanks to you for coming back on. So nice to see you.
By the way, I think
time.
AI analyzes this podcast and produces a summary for you, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, quickly, how can people find you?
I think the best way is what I've had it on the screen here, superagingnews.com. That's our website. That's a subscription to our free newsletter. That's my bio, my contact info. So just one-stop shopping. It's all on superagingnews.com.
Okay, perfect. And you're on TikTok. I see you come up on TikTok. And
we have a social media program on TikTok, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Yes.
Yeah,
Great.
great. Okay, thank you, and enjoy the beautiful weather down there.
I will do that, and best to you.
freezing.
And let's do it again soon.
Let's do it again soon.